What's good, everybody? It is Friday evening. You know what that means. NBA picks and props presented by the Props Network. I am your intrepid host this evening, Jarod Hector. Dexter Henry is a DMPCD because, we got some time to wait here. We got playoffs coming up. He's got to rest. We got a really hectic part of the season coming up, but don't worry. We got the rest of the fellas here. Starting with my guy, Bryan Fonseca, who before the show, we were talking about what if they put padding around a basketball court. And Bryan said, and of course, you guys already know where that's going. This dude was like, violence. You could check people in the corner when they shoot threes. How you doing, Bryan?
I'm doing well. And I kind of did like the idea to some degree, except basketball is not really made for that sort of contact. So I don't need to see Patrick Beverly spearing Damian Lillard arena football style. on a quarter three attempt on a fast break, but
tackle basketball.
I just wish we had some Mets baseball to also get into, but it's not happening right now because there's some COVID stuff going on with the Nationals. Hope everybody's all right, but at the same time, still no Jacob deGrom and Max Scherzer yet.
Yo, man, we gotta get this baseball happening. Speaking of baseball, our man Jamal Murphy is here. Jamal, Mets. We didn't have opening day yet, so we're a little bit delayed. But how you feeling about this season coming up, man?
I feel good, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm disappointed. I'm glad they signed Lindor. I'm glad the Mets, took care of business. I wasn't expecting them to really do what they were supposed to do there, but they did it. We didn't have a game. That's a bummer. No opening day, but hopefully we get a game. This weekend? That's right here.
I hope so. Shit. Well, fellas, we're going to start someplace interesting right now. Wait, real quick before we go, what would y'all do with $341 million?
Oh, wow. Please.
Quit my job. First thing I'm doing, quit my job, get a crib, give a bunch to whomever I need to take care of, you know what I mean? Just invest in my businesses and the things that I want. Because look, man, you don't make shit happen without money. Like, straight up,
$341 million, that is life-altering money. What about you, Murph?
Yeah, man. I definitely quit my job. I get on Twitter, start talking mad shit. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't care. I'm chilling, man. And like you said, of course, invest and make some more money.
I love it. Everybody going on Twitter to talk mad shit. So, fellas, the NBA announced that the draft, they put the draft date out there, July 29th, with the lottery on June 22nd. And that got me thinking about who could go number one and what kind of futures bets we could do with that. So I want to do an early look at who might be the number one pick. And right now, Cade Cunningham is the overwhelming favorite at minus 400. Now, is it too early to have him as a number one pick right now from Okie State? Obviously, they're done. But what do you think, Murph? Minus 400, that's kind of, that's not a bet I would take, obviously, but is it too early to say Cade Cunningham is number one?
Yeah, I think it's too early. You got to wait until we go through, the draft preparation, the workouts, they look at these guys from head to toe, get all the real measurements. I love Cade Cunningham. I do think he was the best freshman player in the country as far as college basketball is concerned. No question about it. But, he's not a just overwhelming athlete, like some of these other guys are. So I think that's going to come into question about his true ceiling in the league. So I think at minus 400, I think that's too big of a favorite for him. Jalen Suggs is plus 1,200. There's a chance that once they get a good look at him and they really, start doing their homework, they could think that he might be a better NBA player. Even same thing with Jalen Green at plus 500. So, yeah, I would definitely take somebody in the plus area at this point.
I love the fact that Suggs is plus 1,200 because if Gonzaga ends up winning this thing, and they're obviously in the Final Four, you know how that works. You win the Final Four, and let's say he's the most outstanding player of the tournament, you know what that means. That's going to boost him up all of a sudden. And so if you can jump in now at plus 1,200, definitely worth a flyer on Suggs. What do you think, Bryan?
Yeah, it's hard for me to see right now Cade Cunningham not going number one. It's even harder for me to see Jalen Suggs going over him. As much as I like Jalen Suggs, I probably like him just as much as I like Cade Cunningham at this point. Evan Mobley from USC is probably the guy I'm looking at right now. And Jarod, he's kind of your type of dude where he's switchable, he defends, he's long, athletic, has a touch. You know what I mean? Wasn't great from three this year, but could, stretch the floor a little bit. And you can see the pathway to him developing a 3-point shot, has a handle as well. You could see him being a future double-double guy in the NBA and also a pretty good passer. Like, he has all of those things as well as the size that I could see him being the number one pick, even though the league is so guard-driven right now. And Cade Cunningham, he's being listed as a 6'8" point guard, which, on his face, I mean, we just saw LaMelo Ball, a 6'7" point guard who could play the 1, the 2, and the 3. He went number 3, and he was on his way to win Rookie of the Year and still might. But Evan Mobley is a guy that I might put some money on because I could see, people talking themselves and say, hey, this guy, long, athletic. Could he be Anthony Davis-ish? You know what I mean? And maybe we'll see what happens there. Yeah,
right now, guys, if you're looking at, I want to make some money, I'm definitely, if we always talk about future bets. If you're looking at, you got $100 or $200 to spend on these futures, I would definitely put some money on Mobley and as well as Jalen Suggs. I would also look at Jalen Green, who played in the G League, because he had a pretty good G League stint, right? And what I like about that is the NBA dude's got a little bit extra intel, right? Because you don't have to go through that college buffer, right? He's already down there in their controlled environment. He's plus 500 right now. So if you're looking at some potential ways to just throw some money down for Flyers because of where the odds are, plus 12 and plus 5, and Mobley was what, Brian?
His odds?
Yeah.
Plus, I want to say 600. Let me see. I got to look at that again. But yeah,
I mean, anything in those areas, I'm in. Definitely worth throwing a couple dollars.
Yeah,
down, right,
Cade Cunningham is so big of a favorite that anyone else is like a good bet right now because you're not going to get nothing by betting on Cade Cunningham at this point.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with Evan Mobley because size matters. He's a 7-footer. He's a today's age 7-footer who can do a lot of things. Is only going to get a lot better. So his upside has got to be higher than these other guys. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if in the next after the season, next couple of weeks after the season, all of a sudden they're saying that Mobley is the first pick.
Yeah, and so those odds might change, people, right? Because all we need to know is you have that one workout, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, he dominated in the draft combine in Chicago, and then all of a sudden the odds change. So now is the time, folks. It's early, but jump in on those high odds because they'll likely start coming down once the news starts trickling out about who did what and where in the draft combine process. All right, tonight's slate of games. As I mentioned to start off the show, we're about 25 games or so left in this season. So listen, it's for a lot of teams, we're bunched up right now, right? Guys have got to figure out their playoff seedings. Teams got to get healthy, right? And they got to get themselves in the right frame of mind for the playoffs. So looking at tonight, let's kick it off first with Houston at Boston. The Celtics are a minus 11.5 point favorites. The over-under is at 223. Look, I'm going to just say my piece right now about the C's. I don't know what's happening in Boston right now. Like, they're not defending, as Brad Stevens says. Like, I mean, they're in the 8th seed right now. And as we know, we're going to 10 for a play-in. They may be a play-in team at this stage, which is, I mean, this is a conference final team. So I don't know what is happening in Boston right now, but 11.5 point spread is very wide. Most of the money right now is on Houston, actually, because of that point spread. Murph, where are you on this game?
Yeah, I'm with you on Boston. I mean, I don't know what is going on in Boston. Stevens, he might need to hurry up and take that North Carolina job. You know what I'm saying? Because something's not right there. I wouldn't put all the blame on him. I'd give him his share of blame there. But it also makes me wonder about Tatum and Brown, like what's going on over there? Because even those two alone should be able to be better than what they are. They need to get tougher as a unit. I still kind of expect them to come around and maybe get to a top 6 seed in the East because they have the talent to do it. So there's really no excuse. But I really don't know. This game with Houston, they're 11.5 point favorites. I mean, Houston is everybody's antidote in terms of getting better. But I don't know if I trust them to win this game. But to cover the 11.5, I'm not sure. If I had to take it, I'll take Boston. I'll definitely take the over. Because Houston plays no D, and Boston, as we know, they're just not together on either side of the ball. So I could see it being a high-scoring game.
Shouts to Brittany Zamora on the quote who just said, "Stick to the bit." You're right, Brittany. Fuck the C's. so I stay on the bit. Brian, where are you at with this? I mean, I agree with Murph, right? With Tatum, and you know how much I love Brown, and much as I begrudgingly give Tatum shit, he's good too. Like those two are good enough that they should be a 6, right? In the 6th spot. Like I just don't know what's happening there.
Yeah, and then Kemba Walker, while not having a great season, he's not where he was when he first got here. So like you would think that they would be better. Look, I hated the Evan Fournier acquisition. I thought it didn't make any sense to me. And the fact that they didn't get Andre Drummond was like, I mean, the fact that their season kind of hung on like whether or not they got Andre Drummond, it was that big of a deal. It shows you how much like danger there is in Boston right now. They're 3-7 of their last 10, and I just don't think that they're going to get it turned around in a way that they should. I feel like just with Tatum and Brown, Walker, Smart, Fournier, like you should be able to make something happen there, especially if you have the alleged greatest coach of all time, as we joke. But they don't have anybody that I feel confident about on the interior, and it matters so much when you're going up against Joel Embiid, Bam Adebayo, Kevin Durant, now LaMarcus Aldridge apparently, and all these other dudes in the Eastern Conference. And I think you're looking at a play-in. You're looking at a 6 seed maybe, but I just don't see how, in totality, like later on, how they get out of even the first round of the playoffs at this point. But as far as this game, I'll take them because they absolutely need this. Like, it can't just keep crumbling down. They have a lot of home games coming up that they need to take advantage of, and they're on a stretch right now that they're going to be at home for a long time. So I'm going to take them. But I'm not really confident that they're going to beat that spread of 11.5, whether or not John Wall does play, because I think he's questionable. So
yeah, I'm with you guys. They need the win, so I have confidence that they will win the game because Houston is atrocious on defense. But 11.5 points, I have zero confidence they'll cover that spread. So I might actually take Houston to cover here. And if I had to, I'd go with the over because, again, neither team playing excellent on the defensive end of the floor right now. Another game that is near and dear to, Murph's heart, I would say Dex, but he's not on here, is the Mavericks in town to play the New York Knicks. Dallas 6.5-point favorites. The over-under set at 212.5. Look, Dallas is starting to play good ball again. This is the Kristaps Porzingis revenge game, even though the administration that got rid of him, they're no longer here. But still, he used to play for this franchise. So it's the Kristaps Porzingis revenge game. Luka Doncic doing his thing, but look, we know the Knicks can guard. They're 6.5-point. The Mavs are 6.5-point favorites tonight. Brian, what do you like in this game?
Yeah, and Kristaps Porzingis being back in New York, I mean, I typically like betting on revenge, but this one's a little difficult because of the way they could defend and have demonstrated throughout the year. That over-under is a little high for me. Whenever the Knicks are involved, I have certain teams, the Knicks, the Heat, and maybe a couple others, like they just don't really score enough. The Pacers now are kind of like this where I'm typically going under. But as far as the spread goes, that's 6.5. I mean, it's interesting, but I'm not so sure that they're just going to flat out win the game because I think this is a game that the Knicks very well could win by just making it scrappy and a pain in the ass for Luka Doncic to get comfortable and get in space. So I'm probably going to take New York here. At the very least to cover, and I'm definitely not taking the over in a game involving the New York Knicks.
What say you, Murph?
Yeah, this is a tough one on the spread. I expect Dallas to win this game, but it could be very close. Like Brian said, the Knicks are going to muck it up. It's going to be slow. I agree with Brian wholeheartedly on the over/under. You got to go under on all these Knicks games if they're anywhere. And if you're putting Knicks totals around 215 or above or 210, 215, the smart bet is probably on the Knicks, even with a good offensive team like Dallas. They're just going to slow the game up and it's going to be a grind. So definitely take the under. The spread as a stay away for me. If I had to pick, I might take the Knicks. I'm looking at some of the information here, and the smart money, the sharp money is on the Knicks here at +6, +6.5. I kind of agree with that. I think it'll be a close win for Dallas.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. Look, I think this game is going to come down to how it's officiated, right? Luka Doncic is behind James Harden, the best at deceleration in all of the NBA, right? Acceleration is something we can all see with our eyes. We can't really quantify what deceleration is, but being able to stop 6'8", 240 or whatever he is on a dime is a really good skill to have. Are they going to call a lot of those touch fouls? Because if they do, because the Knicks do play aggressively on defense, I can see Doncic getting in the line 10, 12 times tonight. If he does that, right? That's a big game for him. That's 6.5. That's a 7-point win. Now, if they let them bang a little bit and play a little more aggressive, which, the Knicks have generally been allowed to do that this season. But, it is Luka Doncic, and, he's starting to get those kinds of superstar-like calls. It'll be interesting to see. I would stay away from the point spread. I do like the Mavericks to win this game, and I would go with the under on that one because I think it'll be a lot of mucked up defense there. The best game of the night, at least in my opinion, the Milwaukee Bucks are heading to Portland to take on Brian's favorite player, Damian Lillard, and the Portland Trail Blazers. Bucks are 2.5-point favorites. The over-under is at 238.5. I like that number. Brian, what do you like in that game tonight?
So Jarod, you and I have talked about how much we don't enjoy the Milwaukee Bucks, but as of late, I gotta give them credit. It's looking a little more enjoyable. Like they figured some things out. I mean, Drew Holiday's return a while back sort of alleviates some of the stress that we had in watching them. So they're a little more enjoyable now. I agree with you. This is the game of the night. This is the game I'm most excited about and one that I plan on watching from start to finish. That over/under is very high, but I mean, look, Milwaukee just dropped 140 not that long ago, and they're putting up cartoonish numbers, and we know Portland is trying to outscore absolutely everybody. So that over-under, I mean, when you slice it up, if each team gets to 120, like, it's not that crazy. You know what I mean? To get, like, you'll probably get a 122, 119 finish, and you're still going to be over. So looking at it from that perspective, I might take the over there because I could very well see that, with these two teams. I would probably lean Milwaukee, but man, I like Portland. And granted, they're not going to defend, but they can outscore just about anybody in this league when they're on fire right now. So I'm going to roll with Milwaukee because that's where I think the smart money is, but I wouldn't be surprised if Portland would have pulled this off.
Yep, I'm with you there. Shout out to our guy, Eric Chang, who's in the chat. What's up, fellas? He's greetings from a new house. Where's that new house, Eric? Let us know. And Dexter is DNP-CD for rest. Playoffs are coming up, my man. We all gotta all take some time to get ourselves ready because that playoff schedule is grueling. All right, and we can't take no days off in the playoffs.
That's right. Get those knees right, Dex.
Merv, where are you on tonight's Bucks Blazers game?
I'm with you guys. I'm looking forward to this game. I think it'll be entertaining. I just trust Milwaukee more. In a close spread like this, 2.5. I think Milwaukee's the better team. Portland can win any given game now. They have the firepower. So I wouldn't be surprised if Portland won. But if I have to bet, I just like the way Milwaukee plays. They're playing against a team in Portland who doesn't play much defense. So I do also agree that if you're going to bet the over/under, I would go over on this. But for the game, I could see Giannis, running wild against Portland, kind of, putting up crazy numbers. Everybody, Middleton and Holiday going off. So I think Milwaukee will come through in this. Portland, I like Portland. I'm just not there yet in terms of trusting them in against good teams to really take care of business.
No, that's fair. I mean, Portland's giving you a reason to do that. Eric Chang out in Vegas, Sin City. I was going to say the land of dreams, but is Las Vegas really the land of dreams? Probably the land of nightmares, right? Like, yeah, depending on how good you are at gambling, I would imagine.
Yeah, fake dreams.
Listen, the Portland Trail Blazers are 30th in the league in adjusted defensive rating. In case you didn't know, that's last. Okay, so that's not good. And while Milwaukee is a good defensive team, they've been experimenting. Bud's been doing different things with their coverages this year, and that has caused some lapses from time to time, right? So they're not the defensive juggernaut in terms of rating that they have been the last few regular seasons in terms of numbers, right? So I look for a lot of points to be scored in this game. So I'm with you guys. I'm taking the over. Portland does something very interesting, like with Damian Lillard. Most teams set that high pick and roll, high screen roll at the top of the key, right? Portland sets theirs almost right inside a half court, so high up, right? Which allows Damian to really get downhill. That may cause some problems for Milwaukee as it relates to, oh, wait, am I supposed to jump out now? Who's covering who? And that little bit of indecision as they're tinkering with the defensive lineups, again, I may give up some wide open shots. And look, Dame and CJ, that may be the most lethal backcourt we have in the league right now because, there's no Klay Thompson over there in Golden State. So I'm with you guys. I'm going to go Milwaukee on this just because I trust their ability to get a stop when they need one, but it's going to be a ton of points scored in this game. And CJ McCollum has been back off that foot, and he's been looking good. Where are you guys at on Portland as a Western Conference? They're not a contender because they don't guard enough. But where are you in terms of, they could potentially get to a conference finals? I know Brian loves that idea.
Absolutely. I think they can get to a conference final because, I mean, the West is so it's very indecisive right now in terms of like who's really going to take that next step. I know a lot of people, love Denver right now. The Aaron Gordon acquisition looking very interesting. And Nikola Jokic, probably the MVP right now. Typically the MVP is somebody you want to bet on come playoff time. Now we'll see how LeBron and Anthony Davis look when they come back. I still think it's Lakers over everyone if they're healthy, but we'll see. Like Denver's there, Portland's there, sort of in that class or like right below them. Like I think that if they get the right matchup and if they're just hot from the floor, yeah, they can take out just about anybody outside of maybe Denver and the Lakers, who I have on a separate tier. We'll see with the Clippers. I mean, just because the Clippers tend to be the Clippers, like we've talked about this ad nauseum here, and I'm not really sure what to make of them. Like you would think a Kawhi Leonard-led team, period, would be able to, someone you have confidence in. But with Paul George and everyone else and all this stock into playoff Rondo, which, I mean, come on, really? Patrick Beverly, I'm not sure. Like, I just don't know with the Clippers, but I feel better about Portland than most of the teams out west. Notice I didn't mention Utah because, I have to see it. I have to see it to believe it. I have to see it to believe it.
You did not mention the Jazz. The disrespect to our friends out in Salt Lake City. Where you at, though, Murph, on Portland as a team that could, potentially, if things go right, they get hot, they can get to a conference finals.
Yeah, I think that's their ceiling. I think they could get there if things went right. They could beat, they could beat the Clippers. If the playoffs started now, that would be the 3-6 matchup, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because that takes everybody out of the play-in. The 3-6 matchup. You just can't trust the Clippers. I mean, they're known to collapse, and then it would be Paul George facing Lillard. Like, he'd be having nightmares for the whole damn playoffs. He'd have to definitely go talk to somebody about that one. But no shade. But yeah, no. So yeah, they can get to the conference finals. I don't think I would bet on that. But it definitely could happen. To me, I agree with Brian. The class of the West are the Lakers, especially. That Drummond signing to me is huge. Drummond has his issues, but it's not talent and it's not athleticism. And I think if you put him with LeBron, who knows how to use him, he could be very, very scary. So I think that really just puts them easily to the top in the West as far as I'm concerned. And, Denver is the next team to me that you can maybe trust. The Clippers have fallen off. So I would drop the Clippers into that Portland range, really. So after the top two, I think it's a free-for-all.
This year more than any year, and look, in every year, I think as fans, most people don't realize this. Winning the NBA championship, yes, you have to have talent. But by and large, it comes down to luck. Because it's a 1 in 30 shot you have of winning it, right? It's a lottery every year that whoever wins the title. And in this year specifically, health is going to be so key. And we only got 24-ish games. When's LeBron coming back? When's AD coming back? We don't know. And what are they going to look like when they're back, right? Odds are they're not coming back and going right into the playoffs because that's a bad idea coming off injury, right? You got to ramp up and get yourself ready before you do that. No one's a believer in Utah because they haven't done it yet, but the numbers all look like they're legit. Denver, we see what they do with Aaron Gordon now, right? He is an overqualified fourth star, right? Like that's what his job is now. And with Jokic, who hasn't missed a game, by the way, all season, they're looking like the most healthy team. And we haven't even gotten to the East and all those health issues over there with Philly and Brooklyn. Like this season, more than anything, is going to be who survives COVID and who's the healthiest come, middle of May, whenever May 22nd when the playoffs start. That I think is going to be the biggest determining factor in who does what. And look, if Utah is healthy, hey, we know they can guard, right? The question is, do you believe Jordan Clarkson in the playoffs? And I think Brian's answer to that is no. All right, moving on. We are going to talk about parlay or not to parlay. Now, this is, of course, one of our favorite segments that we do. We got some really good stuff here today. I picked some good ones with really good odds, and I think they got chances of happening. It'll be interesting to see, what my esteemed panel thinks will go down tonight. First one, Ja Morant and Terry Rozier both to score 25-plus points at plus 500. Now, the Grizzlies are playing the Minnesota Timberwolves, which is the cure that ails just about anybody, and the Hornets are playing the Pacers. So, Ja Morant and Terry Rozier to score 25-plus points at plus 500. Murph, is that a good enough odds line for you to say, I might consider this.
I mean, yeah, the plus 500 is always enticing. I definitely like Ja Morant against the Timberwolves, especially against the Timberwolves. He could go for 40 in the game because the Timberwolves ain't playing no kind of D. So I like Ja Morant. In fact, I might even like it better if you could just give give Morant both. Make him score 50. For plus 500 because I just don't trust Terry Rozier, and the Pacers are a good defensive team. So I would stay away from this, but I do love Morant.
What about you, Brian?
So I long for the days of pure point guards, and Terry Rozier, not typically my kind of guy based on playing style, but he's one of my favorite players to watch this season. He's just so captivating. You know what I mean? In terms of the 25, like he's the one that I'm kind of like iffy about because Ja Morant, again, he's playing Minnesota. And Terry Rozier, looking at his game log from recent games, there's a stretch where his points were 24, 25, 26, 22, and 27. So he's like teetering right there. You could argue pretty convincingly that he's the best player for Charlotte this season, and Charlotte is still one of the best teams in the East in terms of record right now. And he was traded for Kemba Walker, and it was a trade that a lot of us laughed at. And it's kind of working out right now. And he's also doing it efficiently. So I'm going to take this plus 500. I'm going to put some confidence in Terry Rozier. The Pacers have not been as good as they were early on in the season when we were a little bit excited about them. And we even flirted about on this show whether or not they could be sort of a dark horse team to push somebody in the Eastern Conference Finals. We're like a long way away from that now. So, yeah, Terry Rozier, let's get it.
It's so funny. The Hornets, still a league pass team that I watch, even though LaMelo Ball's gone down because they're playing still pretty well. J.D. Borrego, they're running sets for Terry Rozier at the end of games to get off threes. In a weird sort of turn of twist here on this, I actually am more confident in Rozier getting to 25 plus than I am in Morant, only because I know Terry Rozier can hit threes. Ja can't hit threes. And I know he can get to the rim and do all that, but they still got Cat back there with some rim protection. Anthony Edwards is, he likes to show that he's like, hey, I'm on this stage too. And, he's going to think he's better than Ja Morant. Like, he may take on the onus of, like, putting some pressure on him. Ricky Rubio's a decent defender still at this stage of his career. Again, I'm not saying Ja Morant can't score 25 points against Timberwolves. All I'm saying is if he has a night where the mid-range jumper isn't going, we know he ain't hitting threes, and, sometimes you drive to the rim and those layups don't fall, I could easily see a 3 for 11 night or even a 6 for 18 night, and he finishes with 22, and and then you're like, man, my plus 500. So actually, Morant is the one making me a little more nervous. I just think Rozier, he's feeling himself now, especially with no LaMelo. He's like, look, this is my squad. And I was one of those people who were like, what? Terry Rozier for Kemba Walker? What a crappy trade that is.
Same.
Seems to be working out okay for Charlotte. Like, I'm not saying he's better than Kemba, but
how is Charlotte still fourth in the East? Like, that's crazy.
Rozier.
Rozier is doing his thing. Borrego's a really good coach, and that team, like, they play hard, man. Like, they give a shit. Like, so much of this is about, does your team give a shit? And they do. And Gordon Hayward, as much as like the clown, that dude Hayward. Listen, I bet Boston would be happy if they had Hayward right now, but I bet they wouldn't be 8th place in the East if they had Gordon Hayward right now.
And they have a lot of bodies, man. They have a lot of people they can throw at you. A lot of guys who can do, if they have a bunch of guys who can rebound, a bunch of guys who can shoot, even like a Malik Monk. You can bring him in, and he can catch fire here or there. And like you said, Rozier, I'm not discounting Rozier being able to drop 25 per se. He's, like you said, he's been doing his thing. But I think that Indiana is kind of a different beast. Not to say he can't do it. He did score 25. I think he scored 26 against the Heat, so that's a good sign. But it took a lot of shots to do it. But like you said, he has the shots.
Yeah.
If Gordon Hayward was in Boston, he'd just be injured. That's just kind of what it is. Like, he wouldn't even be healthy right now doing this.
Well, maybe what if Gordon Hayward is the answer?
Now,
Boston was a lot better last year. That's all I gotta say.
He was hurt most of last year, though.
But he played. He played. He was hurt. He had stints where he was hurt, but he played a lot. And now he goes to Charlotte, and Charlotte's in the 4th spot. I don't know.
I don't think it's that big of a swing because like Kemba was also like an all-star last year. Let's not forget that. Then he got hurt, and Gordon Hayward barely played. Gordon Hayward really did help in the playoffs, though. When he did play, I will say that he did help in the playoffs, like in that Miami series in particular. So
shouts to Eric Chang. He bet the Hayward prop under 12 times this season and won 9 of them on points. Listen, Eric Chang, you have a new house in Vegas, Eric Chang. So clearly you know what you're doing when it comes to this gambling thing because you're obviously making money out there. But it is
as soon as COVID's over, I'm coming to see you, Eric. All right.
Yeah, we're gonna have a party out at Eric Chang's house in Vegas because he clearly knows what's up. Look, Hayward's been helpful for them. I think the Boston thing is just so fascinating. Danny Ainge did say, and I want to shout out our producer Greg because he put this in the chat. He said that as a team they were concerned that Danny was concerned. It looked like we lack consistency. I feel like we're down a man to 3 men almost every night. And I don't know if they have the confidence in everybody on the team or if it's a personal thing where he sees adversity and they're just not able to overcome that. And it's so odd because a Brad Stevens coach team, and y'all know I clown Brad Stevens is the greatest coach of all time. That's what he was billed as. Fuck the C's. But, I mean, your rookie and your first-year guys in Tatum and Brown were going to conference finals. Rookie year, right? Second and third year. I mean, who doesn't have more confidence than them dudes? So, and now as your third, fourth year in the league, you should have even more confidence. So yeah. I'm not really sure what the problem is there. Why are you not defending at a high level? It can't all be Marcus Smart. I know that was part of it. He's like that identity. But Jaylen Brown, that's how you made your mark. You came in like, yo, you could defend. Oh, what happened all of a sudden? I know playing Tristan Thompson doesn't help. I get that. Yeah, I get all that. But, I mean, that still can't be the only reason.
That's the thing, too. Tristan Thompson and Jeff Teague, like, on paper, like, those were two very good signings. It just didn't work. Like, Tristan Thompson is exactly the center on paper who they would have needed to make this thing work, and it just hasn't for whatever reason. I mean, maybe he should take some pointers from James Borrego. You know what I'm saying? Like, right now, James Borrego is an outside dark horse coach of the year candidate, also the first Latino full-time head coach in the NBA. So I just want to point that out as well.
Listen, shout out to all Latino brothers. Our second parlay of the night, Trailblazers and Lakers both to win at plus 450. The Trailblazers, as we know, are playing the Bucks, and the Lakers are playing the Kings. Murph, what say you?
Yeah, I think I would leave this one alone. Also, actually, I talked about I thought the Bucks would beat the Trailblazers. I do, but the Trailblazers could win. And I'm actually more confident in the Trailblazers than I am in the Lakers. The Lakers, remember, there's no LeBron James, there's no Anthony Davis, and there's not even Drummond. I think he's out.
Nope.
Because of a toe injury already after one game. But the Kings have actually been playing better lately under your boy Luke Walton. So I expect the Kings to actually show up and play and win that game somewhat easily. So I stay away from this one.
Kings are 4-point favorites in that game. Brian, what say you?
That is interesting.
4.5. Excuse me.
4.5 point favorites. Yeah. I mean, look, Lakers without LeBron and without, I don't even think Andre Drummond is playing tonight, right?
No.
So, like,
toenail is off.
Yeah.
Come on. Yeah. Sorry about that. To yourself, man. Keep that to yourself.
I mean, look. That's not as bad as I forget the gentleman's name, but the dude who lost a finger in an MMA fight last night.
Oh, yeah.
He got reattached. You know what I mean? But, he lost a finger in the second round.
Did he get bitten off?
Nah, they were just like up against the cage on one another. And I think the other dude, because he was trying to get position on him when they were in the clinch, in the Muay Thai clinch, he was just sort of like maneuvering himself and was yanking on his finger and it came off. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of physical force, and these were catch weight 180 pounders. So, not small dudes. But anyway,
see, violence is not the answer, people. Anyway, continue.
but when it comes to tonight, I mean, I am I'll be optimistic about the Lakers enough to take this. You know what I mean? Like, it's my only thing is like, I don't love this, so it's something I would only put a few dollars on the chance that it happens, because I do think that the Lakers have to get some wins, right? Like, they're not this bad. They should be able to beat the Kings even as undermanned as they are. I feel like they should. The Trailblazers and the Bucks, we talked about it earlier. The Bucks is smart money, favorites to win. But Damian Lillard has won these games before with CJ McCollum. Now they have Norman Powell. Like this thing kind of happens. The Bucks have had worse losses. Granted, they're like 30-17 now, which means they've won like 13 of their last 17. And they also have Carmelo Anthony as producer Greg is telling us. You know what I mean? And look, let's not sleep on that. Like Carmelo Anthony's had some big moments, not just this year, but last year also in Portland. You know what I mean? So I think that they obviously have enough offense. And yeah, I wish that this was like plus 750 because then I would jump on it. Plus 450, it's like, I'll put a couple dollars on it and see what happens.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. The Lakers are the ones who are making me nervous because, look, I know Brian said they should have enough, but am I trusting KCP, Alex Caruso, Kyle Kuzma, and
what kind of squad is that?
Is Dennis Schroeder their best player right now?
He might be. He might be, right? Like, again, these are NBA players, so I don't want to act
Schroeder
like,
too,
they
all right, fine. He could beat me one-on-one. Great.
but I just that's a lot to ask for this squad. So for that reason is why I'm going to stay away. Our producer Greg put something interesting out there with LaMelo Ball being hurt, and we're talking about the Kings. Is Tyrese Halliburton, has he moved himself up into a potential? If he finishes the rest of this last 25 games strong, could he overtake LaMelo and win Rookie of the Year? One thing I will say is, even being hurt as LaMelo is, as the month just completed in March, LaMelo Ball still won Rookie of the Month for the month of March in the Eastern Conference. Every month this season, he has been named Rookie of the Month. Just putting that out there.
Sacramento's only 3 games out. Well, less than that. They're a game out of the 10th spot. So they're actually fighting for something. They're 7-3 in their last 10. We know they have talent. As far as Halliburton, if he can play well and they make the playoffs, then that does put him in the discussion. I just think he's not only behind LaMelo, but your boy in Minnesota has been going off too. So I'm not sure he can overtake him either.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, when it comes to Tyrese Halliburton, the thing that's different about him, as much as I love him, because he's probably my favorite rookie in this class, though. But LaMelo Ball, like, you just saw something different. It's like when we were talking about when Joel Embiid was a rookie, did he play enough games to sort of win Rookie of the Year? And it's like, dog, just watch him. Like, that's the Rookie of the Year. I feel kind of the same way about LaMelo Ball, because it was like, while Anthony Edwards, you can see the future star, and with Tyrese Halliburton, you could see somebody who's really solid. It's like LaMelo Ball has both, and he's conducive to winning, because look at how good Charlotte was. Now, it's unfortunate that his season was cut short, and he's probably not going to come back, but I still think that he did enough to win Rookie of the Year just based on what we saw. And he had more of a body of work than I think Joel Embiid even had in that season, because I think Joel Embiid only played 30-something of 82 games. And we were all like, oh, man, like, is he ever going to complete a full season? And, now look.
Wow. So you think LaMelo still gets it?
I think LaMelo, he did enough to show me. Unless, now, Tyrese Halliburton could do it, like, if he goes up another gear down the stretch, and maybe the Kings, like, are not just in the play-in, but maybe they're like the 8th seed, not just barely in at 10 or something like that. Like, if he can be the reason to get some wins down the stretch, yeah. But LaMelo was a primary reason for Charlotte, at least one or two, as the reason why, like, they got a lot of wins. I know that Gordon Hayward and Terry Rozier put up better numbers, but, like, he became sort of the stabilizer in a lot of what they did, and that mattered.
No question.
Yeah, I'm with you guys on that. Look, Halliburton would have to go off, and to your point, Murph, pass both of them. I think, as Brian said, with what I've seen with my eyes of all the rookies that have played, and we've seen, I think, their peaks, right? At least as far as rookie season, it's very rare that a rookie gets better later in the season, right? I think LaMelo has shown that at their peaks this rookie season, he has been the best rookie by far. Just everything that he's able to do. He really exceeded my expectations, right? Because I remember coming in being like, it didn't look great in Australia and Lithuania. Those leagues didn't matter, apparently, because he came into this league and was dominant. And I was like, wow, this guy's way better than I thought. And that shot's good. I think he's done enough at this point to show that he's Rookie of the Year. Barring, again, Halliburton goes like ballistic and is averaging, I don't know, 25, 8, and 25.
He ain't that kind of dude.
Right. And I don't think he's that kind of dude. Folks.
And that's interesting. Just quickly, what Eric just posted, that, Melo's actually the underdog now to win Rookie of the Year. He's plus 200. They got Edwards plus 100, Halliburton plus 150. Edwards is different too, but he's not the winner. Like if you're gonna go off winning, you can't.
Yeah.
You got to forget. Hey, but he's a different dude out there. Like,
yeah.
Like I don't know if he even like this dude is a whole nother level of athleticism.
Oh, I mean, when he tries to like end people's lives when he dunks every time, like he don't care who it is up at third he's going at. Like I'm like, all right. And I like that. It reminded me like last year when Ja was playing. What I loved about him so much was like this dude was not afraid of it. Doesn't Chris Paul, but it didn't matter who the hell it was. Kyrie Irving, dude was just going at. I'm like, damn, for a rookie, you got moxie, my guy. Like you ain't backing down on none of these dudes. And Anthony Edwards has got a lot of that in him as well. So yeah. And of course the betting lines are going to change, of course, given where the injuries are and where the money goes. Folks, if you're loving what you're seeing, and thank you for those of you that are tuning in, please make sure you subscribe to the Props Network YouTube channel. That's where you get all this action, and we're going to have more NBA content as the playoffs start coming up, 25 games away, plus all the other shows we have on here with Jamal Davis and Joel Walkowski. Now, our next parlay of the night. We have Giannis and Devin Booker, for those of you uninitiated, to both score 30-plus points. Plus 475. We know who the Bucks are playing, and the Suns are playing the Thunder. Murph, do you like this one?
I mean, so, since I didn't take the first two, I think I'm going to take this. I'm a little iffy on it, but why not put a few bucks on it? Plus 475. I definitely like Giannis's chances to get 30. Book, we know, can do it. He's playing the Thunder, so they're okay. Defensively, but not a great team. He should he should be able to do that. He's been very, very unselfish this season. So that's the only thing. He hasn't been trying to get 30 plus that much during the season, but he's definitely capable. We know that. So I like this one. Why not put a couple bucks on that plus 475?
Yeah, the Oklahoma City Thunder have decided that we're going to rest all players who are any good at basketball and play everybody who's young and not very good. So might be a chance to go up, but also might be a chance the Suns go up so big early that Book is sitting in the fourth quarter. Brian, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that with Oklahoma City just sitting so many guys, like that just opened things up for Devin Booker, who, to Murph's point, hasn't been as aggressive this year as maybe some people expected, but he also hasn't had to be because Phoenix is a better team because of the dude they have playing point guard next to Devin Booker, who's made him, I think, a better player just all around. Once again, like Devin Booker's taken another step. Fellow Latino as well. So I'm gonna take this bet. You know what I mean? If Giannis doesn't get the 30 tonight, like I would be very, very shocked. Even if he just gets 29 and 16 with 8 assists, like I would be very, very shocked if Giannis doesn't get the 30. Booker is the one I'm thinking a little bit more about because, will they blow out OKC? You know what I mean? And will he play in the fourth quarter, as you mentioned, Jarod? Or will he just not be as aggressive and only finish with 27-28 because Chris Paul is running the show? Like, this is what sort of happens. But I'll take this because it's a nice line. And, they both have favorable matchups to get this done, especially Giannis.
100%. Yeah, I'm with you guys. Giannis should easily get his 30 points tonight. I just mentioned the Blazers' worst defensive rating, adjusted defensive rating in the entire NBA. But the OKC one has me nervous, even though no Horford, no SGA, like they just, for whatever reason, play hard. And I'm saying it like it's a bad thing, but like it don't matter who's out there. Them dudes just show up and they grind and play hard. And, they may make things harder than necessary. So the Booker one is what's got me a little nervous. I think the Suns will win the game. I think there's no doubt about that. But, at those odds, listen, we're talking about making money here. You gotta be in it to win it. Plus 475. Let's do it. All right. Last one, a 3-team parlay here. Knicks, Pacers, and Grizzlies all to win tonight at plus 550. We know the Knicks are playing the Mavericks, Pacers playing the Hornets, Grizzlies playing the Timberwolves. Brian, what do you say?
This one is tough because, we've talked about a couple of these games or kind of all of these games already. The Grizzlies against the Timberwolves, like you're taking anyone against the Timberwolves, pretty much. You know what I mean? Except for maybe Houston, but you're taking pretty much anyone against the Timberwolves at this point, and maybe Detroit. It depends. The Pacers and Hornets, like I as much as I love Sabonis and Brogdon and the combination, and Karis LeVert, who's there now. Like, and we've all covered Karis LeVert personally, so we're pulling for him. But like, it's just very tough because the Hornets have been playing so well. And this is not like a fluke because it's been a thing all season long. Even as LaMelo Ball is injured now, you're still seeing them sort of like, tread water and play well enough. We'll see what happens down the stretch. I could see the Pacers winning that game, but I'm not fully confident in it. And then with the Knicks and the Mavericks, same thing. Like I think that the Knicks could win that game, but I just think more so that they're going to cover the 6.5 because they just play so dirty, not dirty in a bad way, but like it's just a grimy style of basketball that I kind of like. I'm not going to lie. Like it's pretty enjoyable. You know what I mean? And then RJ Barrett just wants to, go downhill and draw fouls and actually make his free throws now. You know what I mean? So it's just very tough. I don't know if I'm going to take this. I may have to just sit this one out because 2 of the 3 teams, especially the Pacers right now, I'm just not sure about.
You guys in the chat, let us know if you take this one. Knicks, Pacers, and Grizzlies to win tonight. Pretty good opponents, plus 550. Murph, what say you?
Yeah, because it's plus 550, I say do it. I say, put a couple dollars on it. I'm confident in 2 of the 3. I'm confident in the Pacers. I'm confident in the Grizzlies. I'm not confident in the Knicks, but as Bryan said, I know the Knicks are capable of at least keeping it very close and winning. It can. I'm just when the Knicks play, teams that have a lot of talent and then they have a good coach and they have to win now. I think talent wins out. So I kind of, and then you got Porzingis coming back into New York, so I think he is gonna play well tonight. Luka Doncic is in Madison Square Garden. I think he's gonna play well. So I don't really trust the Knicks, but I give them a chance, and because of that, with the odds at plus 550, why not?
Murph, Eric Chang said you fronting. You wouldn't bet it.
Stop calling me out, dude.
I'm with you guys. I'm going to actually take this bet, and here's why. I'm actually confident in, obviously, the Grizzlies because, they're playing Timberwolves. I'm confident in the Pacers because this is the second out of a back-to-back for the Charlotte Hornets. They played in Brooklyn last night, and Malik Monk got hurt in that game late. Don't know what his status is going to be for this game. I like Indiana actually tonight. The next one is the one that gives me pause just because, Luke is that dude. He really is that dude. And when he's going and the whole thing's working, Hardaway out here hitting threes, Dorian Finney-Smith hitting threes.
It's Hardaway revenge too. I forgot.
Oh yeah, Tim Hardaway revenge. This kid and KP.
He'd probably take it seriously and drop 30.
So that's the one that's giving me pause just because I'm like, oh man, the Knicks. But to Brian's point, and shout out to Tibbs. And look, I'll say it. I was wrong. I was like, man, bet the under the Knicks over under this season. They ain't gonna be good. Listen, Tibbs got this team grinding and playing hard. They're one of the top defenses in the league. They're going to make the playoffs. Listen, you a Knicks fan, you got to be happy right now. That's what I'm nervous about. But because of the Knicks are in fact better than the Celtics right now. That is a fact. Going into this season, if I were to tell you the Knicks would be better than the Celtics with 25 games left, you'd be like, hell no, stop your lying. But now look at where we at. Or unless I said, you'd be like, one of them got injured. You're like, Tatum or Brown got hurt. Something crazy is going on in Boston. But yeah, shout out to the Knicks. So yeah, I'm going to take this at plus 550. It's worth it. All right, guys, you know what time it is. You got $100 to spend. Where are we going with this money? Now, we know what Brian's going to do with some wacky ass like numbers. So we're going to start with Murph and save Brian's fun and shenanigans for the end. Murph, you got $100. How you spending it tonight and keep it 100?
All right. I'm going to go on that Giannis and Book to score 30 plus points. Why not? So I'm looking for a big payout. and like I said, I expect Giannis to do it. No problem. It's Booker. I need you to come through, you know what I'm saying? Get one of the Kardashians to be in the stand. Something, you know what I'm saying? So you do your thing. And you're motivated. I need that. I'm gonna put 25 on the Knicks, Pacers, and Grizzlies just because Eric said I wouldn't do it. I'll put 25 on it and hope pray for the best there. And then in the spirit of the NCAA tournament, in the spirit of I'm going to put a 25 on a long shot, Arizona tonight assistant as their head coach. They got a very good point guard to check out, but they're 13.5-point underdogs against the almighty UConn. But I'm going to go with Arizona 13.5 tonight in the women's Final Four.
Wow, Murph betting against the great Paige Beckers. I don't know, man. That sounds like a fool's errand. Brian, what about you? Well, Sam said, what if it's Robert Kardashian? Nah. See, Sam, you wilding out here. You wilding out here. Nah, we need Kendall Jenner in the stand so Book can do his thing. Yo, you think? No, never mind. I'm getting to like picks and props after dark. Ain't got time for that. Brian, what you got for keep it 100?
I'm gonna start simple, but it's gonna go left a little bit. 25 on Ja Morant, Terry Rozier, the parlay that we mentioned earlier, getting 25 points each. Let's go, Terry Rozier. I believe in you. You can do it. Giannis and Devin Booker. I think that's the other one that I really liked. We'll put 25 on that as well for them to get 30 each. To keep it even for now, I'm gonna put 40 on North Carolina hiring a white guy to be their new head coach instead of hiring Mr. Davis, which we touched on before the show. I'm going to put $9 on a parlay for Gonzaga and UConn to just win the whole thing in the NCAA tournament. So why not? You know what I mean? Just play the favorites there, go where the safe money is. And my $1 bet will be on a scuffle, a kerfuffle, a whatever that will require separation tomorrow night between Julius Randle and whatever Plumlee is on Detroit. I think it's Mason. I'm pretty sure it's Mason.
As always, Brian got ballots to go with. I'm going to keep it simple tonight. 25 on Ja and Terry to go 25 plus points. I really like that one. And, I'm gonna go 25 on the Blazers and Lakers to win. I know we like the Bucks and all that, but I'm just going to, plus 450. I'm like, why not? Let's live dangerously a little bit here. And then I'm going to go 50 on the Giannis and Book to score 30 plus points. I'm feeling good about that one. Kendall Jenner going to be in the house tonight for Book. She's going to let them know, look, if you don't do what you got to do, you know what ain't going to be happening later. So y'all
they're just friends. They're just friends.
Hey, I went to high school. I know what that means. You know what I'm saying? Like
I went to high school.
Shit, I went to college too. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, of all the Kardashian sisters, if you had to date one, who would it be, Brian?
Nope.
No, you have to.
Nope.
You have to.
No, I don't have to. I have to.
Brian, if you don't, you're going to die.
Oh man, I like life.
See, of course. Who doesn't like life?
I'll go with the older one. What's her name again?
Chloe?
No, Courtney.
Courtney. I'll go Courtney. She's the most low key. You know what I'm saying? But seems like she could be a little fun too. You know what I'm saying? So
plus Murph. She got kids, so you guys could bond over that.
That's true. That's true.
She's stable. Like okay,
our kids can hang out. You know what I'm saying?
I see where you going. I see where you going, Murph. Okay, what about you, B?
It has to be Kendall, doesn't it?
I mean, as Eric Chegg said, it's easy to me. I think it's Kendall easy.
I mean, look, it ain't really my stilo, but I mean, not my kind of girl.
Brian, when you say stilo, what do you mean exactly? You want to elaborate for the fans?
Just you know.
Yeah. She doesn't fit your particular aesthetic. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, this there could be a couple more curves. You know what I'm saying?
But she'll give you access to a lot of things, man. I mean, you go
that's fine. That's fine. You know what I mean? Like
access is key.
I can get the access. You know what I'm saying? Not that kind. That's a little different. But I'm also not into all that. You know what I mean? Like I would need to be playing a different game. Like I don't think I would be able to tolerate everything that comes with, being involved with that circle.
Yeah, gotta be on the show and shit. People up in your it's a lot. It's a lot.
Which I think I would kill on that show. But
you would, because here's what would happen. all that incessant, like people in your shit, the violent side is going to come out. You're going to fight people, and that's going to be a major draw. I'm like, yo, Bryan going to fight today.
I would be the typical hot-blooded like market on the show, like, oh, you gotta wait till he blows up. You know what I mean? Wait till he goes crazy and gets mad about some shit. That's what they will be doing on that show. You know what I'm saying?
Fellas, with the last few minutes we got remaining here, and thank you, all of you guys. The Ronnie of Jersey Shore, Craig said. What are some sports things you're looking forward to this weekend? I'm just gonna say real quick, yo, Paige Beckers is that shit. I'm looking forward to her doing her thing this weekend. UConn taking home what title number 12 this would be for them. Good God, that's what I'm looking forward to this weekend. What about you, B?
I wish that she could enter the WNBA draft.
Me too.
But
Me too.
The WNBA rules have it so that you can't enter until you're 22, except if you're international, and then you could enter when you're 20, which leads me to believe, like, what if she goes to like Russia or something like that for a year and then decides to go pro? You know what I mean? Maybe that's a structure that was in place because, like, you know, the women weren't being paid adequately at the next level, so they wanted them to get their college degrees, whatever. I just think now you're going to start to see this. Like, there are other freshmen who are really good too on her team as well. And then there's, like, you know, you have others like in Louisville, you have Haley Van Lith. Like, you have them all over the country. And there are women that could play at the WNBA right now that are freshmen and sophomores in college. But, you know, Paige Beckers is awesome. But other than that, like, yo, baseball is here. You know what I mean? Like, the Mets are going to play at some point. Apparently, the entire first series against Washington is postponed because Washington's dealing with their COVID stuff. So
come on, man.
It doesn't look like we're going to have any games weekend. But, you know, I'm looking forward to, you know, all-star level caliber play from Francisco Lindor, from Dominic Smith. You know what I mean? From Michael
DeGrom.
Jacob DeGrom, he might get his third Cy Young. Like, we'll see. I think, you know, I'm very optimistic that they could at least get into the playoffs. So we'll see what happens there.
Oh, they better make the damn playoffs. Shit.
No, I'm saying because look, Padres, Dodgers, like, it's gonna one team from the Central is getting it, just one, whoever it is, Cubs, Cardinals, whatever. Padres and Dodgers got to get in at the West, and then in the East, you're only left with, like, you know, the Braves and probably the Mets. You know, don't fuck around because the Nationals could still, you know, they still have pitching or whatever, but it should be the Braves and the Mets.
Mets gonna win the division.
Are they doing the same? Did they go back to the playoff format they had, or they're not doing the same thing they did last year?
Nah, they're not doing the same thing they did last year. Okay. Although that would be pretty fun. I ain't gonna lie.
That'd be great. They should have kept that.
Yeah, I don't mind it. You know what I mean? Or like a condensed version, like kind of like how football had it before they added the 7th playoff team, where, you know, a couple of teams have a bye and then, like, whatever. Because I do think baseball's playoffs, I don't think everyone should get in, you know, but I do think, like, there's a value to having 16 teams make the playoffs in basketball and in hockey. I think that baseball you can replicate in a way that football it would be tough to. Although I'm sure they're going to try to, but I would like to see a more of a playoff field because only 12 teams or 10 teams get in the playoffs. You know.
Yep. What about you, Murphy? Looking forward to this weekend? And guys, any questions in the chats? Let us know. What are you looking forward to, Murph?
You know, like you guys, I'm looking forward to that women's Final Four. I've been watching it closely this year. It's been great. The level of play is tremendous. The women's game is going to take off in the next couple of years, and so I have no doubt that someone like Paige Beckers, you know, in the next, you know, few years, they're going to open that up completely and let you know, freshmen, at least freshmen, join the WNBA. So that'll be great. And also on the men's side, Gonzaga, you know, trying to do something that hasn't been done since 1976 with all you guys' favorite coach, Bob Knight. You know, undefeated season with a championship. I mean, Gonzaga is theirs to lose. They have the most talent. They have a great coach. They're rolling on all cylinders. But, you know, Baylor formidable. Even Houston with Kelvin Sampson is formidable. They play great defense. So, you know, I'm looking forward to the Final Four in both men's and women's hoops.
Nice. Shout out to Eric Chang for giving Caitlin Clark of Iowa some love. She's also a fantastic player this year.
She's a beast.
Caitlin Clark can ball as well. Yeah, man. Look, I really hope that Gonzaga and UConn take it so we can read the endless pieces about how Jalen Suggs and Paige Beckers were best friends, and they both won national titles as freshmen.
They're just friends.
They just friends.
I'm just saying.
I mean, what if, I love to do the hypothetical. What if they had a kid? What if they did have a kid?
Michael Jordan.
Oh, look out. Next greatest player. I mean, you heard it here first on the Picks and Props Network. But anyway, folks, thank you as always for rocking with us. Eric Chang, we appreciate you for coming through in the chat. Guys, Props Network, make sure you subscribe to that YouTube channel. Brittany Zamora, you were here earlier, told me to stick to the bit. Fuck the C's, you know how that goes. But from my man, Jamal Murphy, Bryan Fonseca, I'm Jarod Hector. Till next time, peace.